we have to narrate this?
Yeah, this is the
truck. The truck from America's Dentist Care Foundation. There's nothing in that truck, Mike. I was expecting it to be all full.
With that door in the way.
It's all dark in there. It's,
They didn't open the doors before we backed it in.
Dental student. He just wanted to go to dental school.
He just wanted to go. Yeah. Well, we've had people, finally, we knew it happened. We knew it would happen, but I better not talk on video. I'll probably say something I'm not supposed to say.
So what is this coming out?
Those are our actual vacuum pumps that create the suction.
Okay.
And we bring 6 of them.
Were those special made for you?
No, our air dryer is specially made for us, but the vacuum pumps are made by Air Techniques, and they actually make them for dental just by looking at them, what's actually in there. So sterilization's one color, chairs are one color, but it's easy because they stand up, out on top, and then power is one, and things like that. So. And on the front of the truck is our air dryers and our vacuum pump. So we bring one custom designed for us air dryer that cleans the air from the compressor, and it makes it medical grade air. That goes to our unit, which we do both for the patient and to protect our equipment.
From the Virginia one from 2008 or 9 or something.
Yes, so that was not our equipment, and they do not follow our infection control procedures. So there were several things that were done there. They believe, although if you read that article, they don't know, because there's no way to, but what people think is that it was inadequate suction. West Virginia uses what are called PAC 1 units that just suck in there, and the suction's very weak. And so we use these vacuum pumps, and so often dentists will tell us that the suction is stronger at our clinic than it is in their own private clinic. So they think that was one issue, that they weren't, the suction wasn't strong enough, and so it wasn't adequately sucking all the way from one patient before they saw another patient. The other is that we have a protocol or something like that, and it's line cleaner. So Patterson or then one of the other concerns was that they were carrying syringes across the floor, which is against our protocol. And obviously that's a safety issue. Even a needle pouch is really not a safe needle. And not to mention then just airborne particles within the product. And so we bring 350 aspirators with us, so you don't need, sometimes there's a fear that they'll run out of syringes and that it's more efficient, or they don't want to waste the anesthetic if they don't use all of it, but one, patient safety and infection control is more important than wasting a little bit of anesthetic. You won't run out of syringes. That's not a concern. If sterilization is running smoothly as it should, there's never running out of syringes, and it's just not a safe protocol. So those are our water tanks that are specially designed for us. Stainless steel. They each hold 30 gallons of water, and that provides all the water for the clinic.
So I know we're supposed to get 300 gallons of water and 5 gallons.
Distilled water.
Distilled, right. That's on our list.
Is that the water that goes to the sterilizers too from there?
That is not the water that goes to sterilizers.
That's just the unit.
In theory, we don't need running water to operate the clinic. It works better. We're all happy if we can wash our hands, but you don't have to. In fact, in New Mexico in September, they had a huge mud and rainstorm that knocked out the water to the building that we were using in between setup and the actual clinic day, and we didn't have running water.
I can't remember I think we have water, but no, I can't remember if Mike.
Yeah, we have water on the utilities on the floor, and I think there is water provided for the sink in the lab, right?
Right. There's a sink and sterilization that you need water, but for the sterilizers and for the clinic, you need distilled
And
water.
that's included in the 300
Right,
gallons.
right,
It's for
right.
Everything
Yes.
is 300.
Yes.
Okay.
And at 300, you'll probably have some left over. But at 250, it kind of depends. I mean, it's hard to totally predict water use. At 250, you might not have enough, and so that's why we say 300. Because a lot of places will take it back.
Oh, okay.
Like whether you buy it from a supplier, like Culligan, or you get it at Walmart or something, they'll take it back. That's the air dryer I was talking about that is custom designed for us, and it's what cleans the air.
Okay.
And it connects directly to the compressor that you provide.
Right, Mike's already on that compressor. I've heard him talking.
Yeah.
So right now we're at 128 dentists registered
Yeah.
and 515 volunteers. So
Excellent.
on track.
Yes. Are they? I mean, it depends on how long they're volunteering for.
Yeah,
Well, a lot of them are
doing
going-
multiple sessions.
So then that's funny. I mean, that's
Well,
great.
We have about 60 verbal commitments. There's floater registers. Yeah, we're gonna do it.
Well, it feels like a long time. Still, those are
Uh,
our waste collection tanks. We bring 4 of them. And
Okay.
they collect the waste. We bring amalgam separators with us, and then we leave them behind because we can't take them over state lines. And we leave a postage paid address box with them, and you just have to mail them. So we bring that for any waste. Oh, that can just stay there. That doesn't need to go. That just needs to stay there. And so you don't have to worry about that. And it depends on your state. You have to worry about waste amalgam for at the tables if they're taking teeth out that have amalgam or something in it.
Does it? Okay. If the
You can't put that in medical waste.
You can't throw that in medical waste.
Depends on your state.
Our state doesn't have very many rules about
We
that.
don't even have someone that's going to come check radiology.
You're probably fine. You can put it in medical waste. Some states have, you have to collect it separately.
And so these must be the crates with the chairs and stuff.
So those are sterilization crates
Oh.
because they have a kind of beige triangle on them. So we bring 16 M11 sterilizers. We bring 2 portable sterilization sinks, 6 ultrasonic cleaners, and all the instruments that
We did tell people that you have do you have 24 ultrasonic scalers?
Yes, we do.
I confirm that with Jill.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have 24 scalers, 24 curing lights, and 24 amalgamators on the truck, which is sufficient for a 100 operatory clinic. People have to share, and they don't always like that, but it's sufficient. Obviously, the ultrasonic scalers, they aren't sharing, but the curing lights
Right,
and
right, right.
amalgamators
Yeah, because we only have 20
share.
hygiene chairs.
Nothing can happen on setup day without the PVC. Because you can't set up anything else until the PVC is laid down. So where the PVC is where table rows are going to be, where our units will go. Now, I haven't been to your facility.
It looks just like this.
Okay.
It's not quite as big.
And I will
but
tell you,
it's-
they have really spaced these out.
Yeah, there's a
And
lot of
there's
space
nothing wrong with it, but it doesn't have to be. From kind of one edge of the table, because they will set these banquet tables, one edge of the table to the next, it has to be 20 feet or 25 feet, but obviously it's more than that. So I just wanted you to know that it's okay to have it closer. They have the space, they're using it, there's nothing wrong with that, because it can get too cramped. Like in New Orleans, it was about as tight as it could be, and that wasn't a lot of fun, when you're kind of having to edge past people to get to someplace else. But just to give you perspective, it doesn't have to be. And then when we set up down the tables, there has to be 6 feet in between
And I know
each chair.
Mike has cleared all the floor plans with Jill.
Yeah.
So
I just wanted to give you.
We don't have this either.
I
So
just
we
wanted
cut
to
that
give
out
you
of our-
perspective as you're watching it set up.
Okay.
That this is a little more spread out than it has to be. So the PVC gets laid out, and it's kind of hard to see, but if you see way down there, they've got pink connectors. Do you see in that?
Yeah, well, we can walk
PVC?
down that way.
Yeah, we can. No.
Yeah.
Well, you know how it goes, that you aren't going to be able to do it. So, they're using the floor plan that's pasted right in there. And Matt, the guy right there, he works for us as a contractor, but he's from Oregon, and so he's overseeing some of the setup.
Knowing what he's talking about helps. So.
It's the three of us. It'll be Jill, Jerry, and I'll be there. But he knows, they've done it in this building before, and he knows the setup, so they're probably a little bit ahead. But so we bring these connectors, and then we bring the HVE lines, or saliva injectors for hygiene, ejectors, and then we bring those umbilicals that provide the power, water, and air for the clinic. So they line up. And then
Okay, so these connections here, we have to get those too.
no, we
No,
provide
they
those.
bring the
there
connection.
are some connectors you have to get the exhaust out, but these right here we provide.
Okay.
Because
And
we
so
bring
how do
them.
you guys clean those again? If you can't reuse these pipes, you guys just clean those, or?
So we do when we bring the truck back to our warehouse, we do clean them, but we also run the line cleaner through, through the event. But then we take, when we go back, when the truck comes back to our warehouse, we and this must be hygiene because those are small bars for saliva injectors.
Oh yeah, that's the slow speed for a saliva ejector
So,
hookup.
so we bring those connectors. We bring them. I mean, they can be in combinations. Sometimes, hygiene will be on one side of a row, and restorative might be on the other, and we can switch them out. It doesn't. We have multiple combinations, and so you can see the connection just came undone there. He's gonna those all connect, both the power and the water, and the air with quick connects. And then I think the water tanks are there. To these, and then
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, these are a little.
Both they come in these padded containers, so people have to set them up. But we bring 130 stools now that come in these, and then we're gonna go around this way first. So these are the crates that hold our units. So they fit in these custom cut foam. So layers. So this is our entire unit with its tray, and then I don't think they're off the truck yet, but we bring our lights that are meant to be portable, and they hook on to the unit.
Okay, because they're, well, certainly we were talking to some lights, so, and I swear I saw them.
So there's these units all come with a light. I mean, it's separate, but there's a light. It's an LED light. Now, for numbing and for oral surgery, because sometimes oral surgery doesn't ask for this unit because they just want the suction, and we can do that, just set up the suction. But we bring tripod lights that are our same light. It just stands on a tripod instead of being connected to this, and they can use those. We bring 30 tripod lights, and we bring 40 headlamps. So between oral surgery and numbing, you can use any combination of those tripod lights and headlamps.
That's all on your list. Okay. Then Jill was telling us how those things hook together. They bring those pink connectors.
Yeah.
I figured you did.
So,
I just like I was saying, I haven't messed with you.
we are here to set it up the way you want. So, you just tell us how you want it, and then we set it up that way. It gets tricky if you tell us after the fact, oh, really, that was supposed to be hygiene. That becomes a little more complicated or something, but ahead of time.
I don't know when they're bringing the tablecloth.
I assume this is Central Supply.
Yes, sir.
And you're going to come to Alaska and help us do this, right?
Tomorrow, right?
No, April.
April?
Nothing to it.
Absolutely. Come on back.
There's not much to do in Alaska in April other than try to
Hotel I've seen that guy
that's
somewhere.
right. I knew you were with I knew you were with the ODA or something because
Yeah.
I've seen. In fact, this
So
is kind of
guys,
the.
were you in Jackson Hole?
No, I didn't go to the. Wait.
But people get obsessed about wanting to tape it down, and you don't need to tape it because once the unit clamps on the table, it's not, the table cover's not moving.
Okay.
So you don't need people.
Oh, those are elastic tape.
Right.
It's all glary.
Helped. You know, I've
There you
just
go.
helped.
Get a video of our tear up and set up and tear down lead actually doing
Actually working.
working. See, he officially knows how to set up the hygiene station. Green is hygiene. Tip.
Yeah.
And I gave it to our supply guy. Tip.
Yeah.
And I gave it to our supply guy.
Driver did what they did the first year, and they backed it all the way up, preventing us from opening the doors. But like most mom projects, we know we have to be flexible. So we were able to get around that. Welcome. I'm super excited. This is gonna be a fantastic 3 days. I hope you rested up in preparation. I hope your feet are feeling really happy right now. Fast forward a little bit. So you guys may have noticed that we actually sat down, Weston, Cindy, Lauren and I, and put together actual setup and tear down protocols. We're hoping that will make it a little bit easier. You are responsible for your own areas, but there are certain areas that we need help and concentration with right away. When we go downstairs, I'm gonna need a number of you to pitch in with sterilization. We've got to get sterilization up and running, and we need to get those guys functional so that we can see some patients this afternoon. That's the biggest change, and I hope you are all willing to step up. I know of about, at this point, I think 8 patients that we'll be seeing, and much like the Mom Project itself, we don't know where those patients will be going or what they need, but with all of these professionals in the room, I know we'll be able to take care of it. We may be asking some people to suction who, maybe that's not what you signed up to do, but we're all going to need to chip in a little bit.
Larry?
Yeah.
You might just tell where the patients are coming from. Patients are people that are helping support the Mom Project, that work for companies that we're kind of returning in kind of services for.
Right, so there are people who have been either on site already or have they'll be delivering their services like our security guards for free over the next couple of days, and in return we agreed to see.
And yours is family.
Right. Sadly,
Just 2 of my relatives.
Sadly, actually, my brother needs a filling, and he's helping set up, and I told him, no, you cannot. I will find a way for you to get your filling done without it being done here. It's one of those things that you really miss when you don't have an active practice anymore. And Doug, at this point, he may be coming to visit you. I want to remind you all, I'm going to make this a big point in the orientation tonight about the biohazard waste versus regular waste. Clinical professionals, I trust that you guys know the difference, and I think maybe where some of the lapses happened is that for our lay volunteers, they see a garbage can and you may not know the difference. So if it's lined in red, only biohazard goes in there. So that's blood, soap, gauze, and most community members, that you wouldn't have anything to do with those products anyway, or materials, so just go to a regular waste can. The reason it's a big deal is that you pay by the pound on the biohazard disposal. So we really want to keep that cost down if possible. Hey Dan, how you doing? So in your departments, when you do your orientation, especially if you have, if you're in charge of or any oversight of any of our community volunteers, if you could re-emphasize that the red lined boxes are only for bloody things, and red, just run them red and blood, and then they should stay away. I don't want to see glove boxes in there and such. Josette?
I would like to add to that on the restorative and surgery and all of the, where you're taking care. Please have your assistants take care of the sharps at your units. Don't bring them to the sterilizing area, because our people in the sterilizing area are not supposed to be taking the needles or the bite markers or
Absolutely.
blades, anything like that off. So if you can just remind your assistants and your doctors to take care of it at the unit.
Absolutely, and if you're noticing that you're getting some, and you can probably tell by the types of instruments, then just remind me and I'll go and pass that along again. There will be sharps containers set up throughout everywhere that you would think you would need it, so it really shouldn't be a problem. I want to make sure that for when you do your orientation with your volunteers, this is kind of more again for the clinical leads, make sure that although the patient escorts are going to get an orientation, that once you get them, that you orient them to your specific area. Meaning, I'm somebody who just volunteered has nothing to do with dentistry, and I'm going to restorative. I need to be told exactly what to do. I need to know that I'm taking Rihanna from here and I'm going to take her over there. And that is up to you to do that orientation of your escorts. I want to make sure that you all, again, this is a little bit more on the clinical side, orient your volunteers to what is expected of them at the end of their shift. At the end of each shift, before they leave that chair, it needs to be completely wiped down. The wipe stays on the chair so that we know it's clean, and a wipe of the light on the light so we know that that's been cleaned as well. I want all garbage, all of anything that they used, restorative and endo. You guys are kind of big culprits in this area. They take stuff and they kind of use it, but then when they leave all the stuff and the next person comes along and they don't need it, and then we end up just with a lot of stuff to clean up at the end. All the trash on the floor around a chair needs to be picked up, including paper points, gauze, Q-tips, what have you, before the next shift comes in. For end of Tuesday shift, these guys don't even know what they got themselves into. I want you, when you do your orientation, tell your people they need to check out with you before you dismiss them. At the end of the Tuesday shift, we are going to have each doc and assistant tear down their own area. Number one, they have to flush the lines. Is that good enough, Matt? And I'll be saying that again. They have to flush the lines. There's a reason that we emphasize this. It's completely not safe to be tearing things apart when they have not been flushed properly. Return all of the supplies that they use. They're going to break down the chair, and we will have instructions for you as to how to give them instructions to do that when that time comes. It will make the end of day, which I expect all of us to be staying until everything's cleaned up. You don't get to go home until I dismiss you. And I've been way too nice in the past about letting people go, and then it ends up falling on the hands of the ODA staff and a handful of docs to stay till that truck is closed up. If we all chip in, it's going to go a lot quicker. And if we utilize our docs and assistants to do things like break down the chairs, etc., we just saved ourselves a ton of time. So it's all for expediency on Tuesday night. My goal is to be completely closed up Tuesday, and no one will have to come back on Wednesday. I think that. Oh, don't let patients direct themselves. I was really reminded of this in New Orleans. You can't blame them. They're looking for a little bit extra when they start to see, and they have a lot of time sitting and waiting, and they kind of get the orientation, and they figure out real quick that there are those of you that can give instructions and those who will take instructions. And we've known many, many different cases of patients basically talking themselves into additional treatments. For people working with escorts, make sure that they know, absolutely not, that just because the patient says, no, that person over there said I need to go over here. No, unless you as a lead, unless Jim says directly to an escort, unless Patrick, you were to say directly to an escort, this is different, you're going to do this. The escorts are to only, follow the standard protocol. I want to try to minimize that double treatment and kind of sneakiness, if you will. Yeah.
Yeah, because that happened, it became a physical altercation almost 2 years ago here, because someone said they were promised a root canal by a dentist, and then they got belligerent, and of course it fell on the lead, myself, to be in the middle of that situation. So you make sure you can't be misunderstood whatsoever. You're really clear about that. We try to be nice to someone that you're not promising them treatment.
That's right.
Because it gets all of us in a bad situation when we're trying to do good.
And if there is an instance where, you know, you can feel that some interaction with a patient is escalating, come grab me right away and I'll get my dad.
Supplies go back at the end. On the anesthetic, I know it has to be stored at my office, but is that, so I just give it there and they'll bring it back to my office?
They can bring you, yeah, whatever, if it's, if you're in restorative and they've taken supplies to their area, they just need to return it to your area. At the end of the clinic, that way it'll be easier for Patterson to take everything back from those general, because what has happened in the past, I'm literally like, every 2 feet, you're grabbing anesthetic cartridges, you're grabbing, what, I mean, it's just, we just need to keep it consolidated.
No, I'm just talking about later storage to Salem, that they told me that that's why I have millions of boxes, had all those boxes, that they didn't have a license to store it, so it had to be at my office, and so I'm not sure how they want to work that.
Yeah, and it'll have to go back to your office and we'll have to pick it up. Or we'll have to
so
send
it
will send a tag to pick it up to you. We can't.
Okay, perfect.
Because we're not licensed, we can't.
Yeah, but you'll deliver it back to me, or?
No, I think you have to take, we can't transport it. We have to, you'll have to take it back.
I just need to know if I have to take it again. Okay.
You'll have to take it back and then we'll have to have UPS get it
So
from you.
does this anesthetic go back in your system, or are you saving it again then for the next project?
Yeah.
We're saving it for Salem.
We put it down in the basement and
So-
it stays.
Well,
So
if it stays, if it stays, yeah, if you put it in your basement and it stays, it gets saved, or it gets returned, and I'm not sure.
You have to tell me.
Well, when you figure that out,
Yeah, I'll let you
I don't think
know.
we need to decide this with a
Yeah.
big group. When you figure it out, tell me, because I've got the truck, and
Okay.
it's gonna be in Salem next year, and my son's got storage in his basement,
Oh, that's
so.
perfect.
You guys
We should
don't
put it
have,
in there, yeah.
you're gonna load it
This out.
on the ODS truck.
Okay.
And then
I'll let
we'll
you know
decide with ODS and Patterson, I'll talk to you, and we'll decide that later.
where it goes.
All right,
that
so
answers
the last thing I want to remind you about, or the clinic leads, this is for clinic leads only. Tomorrow after, and I'll try to go around and let you know about what time, we will have a debrief real quick up here again. We'll plan on roughly around 6 o'clock or so, but that's got to be flexible depending on how the flow of the clinic is going. We want to make sure most of the patients are cleared out.
6 p.m.
6 p.m. tomorrow evening. At the end of the shift, we'll do a quick debrief. What I'm looking for in that is feedback as to how things went. Don't be distracted on ideas for next time. I can't make changes. We can't do anything about that. But things that we can do, whether it be communication or flow issues, that's what we can solve for the next day. So any ideas that you have to make the clinic better, put them in your notes on your phone and keep them for after the project, and by all means we want to hear all of that then, but not tomorrow. It just can't be implemented. So let's go downstairs and start. Oh, sorry, Cindy.
I just wanted to piggyback on teardown, for I know that's a long ways away, but you'll pass out cards that kind of remind people on the protocol for teardown. But after your lines are flushed, make sure you keep, though we want you to collapse your chair and we want you to make sure it's completely wiped down, and put your collapsed chair and put the wipe on top of it, so we know that that has been cleaned before it was collapsed. Put your wipe on your light so we can tear down your light, but leave your unit intact, because even though your lines have been flushed, there may be others in your area that aren't completely done yet, and those lines need to stay active. So just 2 quick notes on that.
Thanks, Cindy.
And then just a quick, I want to reintroduce Patrick. We've got a couple of things that are different from years past. None of our patient escorts have been assigned to departments, and so Patrick Lancy over here is our patient escort lead, and so he'll be bringing people to your department and he'll be managing that whole process. And so if you are low on escorts, you have too many escorts, whatever, make sure that you chat with Patrick and he'll get that all managed. That's his role here. And the same is happening with assistants. So we have assistants registered in two manners. They either registered that they were coming with their dentist, in which case they should follow their dentist around whatever department their dentist goes to. That is their dentist department lead is their department lead. If they signed up as solo, not coming with a dentist, they're going to meet with Ginny Jorgensen, and Ginny's going to orient them, and then she is going to come to your departments. So in the morning at 6 o'clock when your shift arrives, take a count of how many of your docs need assistance and have that number ready, because Ginny's going to come by and say, I've got assistants, how many do you need? And she'll drop off that number of people with you. And then you need to match them up with the doc and make sure they're oriented to your department, because you at that point become their lead. And then Ginny's also working as a solo assistant, so she'll then be working with the doc. But she's in charge of those solo assistants for the 2 shifts. And I have your rosters, your protocol, and your shirts up here. I got your check-in packets, your badges, and everything up here. So see me before you head out.
And I've forgotten a couple important things. We have some really special visitors with us, both from the Salem project, which will be right around the corner in July, but also from Alaska. And they're putting their first mom on in April. So I really appreciate all the help that a lot of you were able to give their leads even prior to this, but as our project goes on, you may be fielding some questions as they take a ton of notes in preparation for theirs in April. So
We only want blue ink, no black loud.
This doesn't exist, you don't see it.
Red is fine, but the reason for that is when we have people coming in for the second time, they'll be their registration form is going to be photocopied, and they will come back with a blue photocopied registration form. If you're writing with black ink on a photocopied registration form, we have no idea what is new. And so it is very important that we use blue so we can differentiate between the previous treatment and the current treatment.
And I can tell you from New Orleans, it happened twice where I was able to detect somebody literally sneaking in. They didn't have very good security. That was one issue there. And I was able to tell by their form that they were in fact sneaking in versus had gone through triage again, because everything was original black. So it is really, really helpful if it's in blue.
So, but back to the original. So Lauren and I will be bringing different people around. She's got the runners, the 6 o'clock shift. So your clipboard checkers and your waiting room area people, she'll bring them all around. And then the info and directional assistance folks I will have, and then data entry.
So make sure you guys take care of yourselves, drink a lot of water, make sure you make time to eat. One of the great things about having co-leads in a lot of areas is that you can take turns when you leave the floor, so there's still some direction being given in your area. Make sure you tell your people when you orient them to take care of themselves, and to have a good time. You should be having fun at this too. So let's get downstairs, and maybe a few people can get their registration. Rolling their eyes, because I went over this in our brief meeting this morning, but I can't emphasize it enough, and especially for our volunteers that come from the community side, maybe don't have a clinical background, you may not understand the difference. Number one, the reason that we get worried about this is just proper disposal of items. Number two, we pay by the pound for our biohazard disposal. So if you mistakenly put regular garbage in one of our red lined bags, we end up paying a lot more money. And as I demonstrated before, we're doing this all by donation, so we're trying to save a little bit. So I'm going to do a quick demonstration of the difference. This is a biohazard disposal receptacle. It will be lined in a red bag. I beg you please to not put anything else in there. Once you deposit, say, I don't know, a piece of paper in here, we can't take it back out. We can't do a separation. There are these things all around the clinic also. So white is for regular garbage. So I I also want to emphasize that sharp things, needles, lancets, broken glass, anesthetic carbules, do not go directly in here. They go in a sharps container, which at the end of the project eventually will go in there. But for our purposes, all the sharps go in the sharps container. Nothing sharp, like a needle, like a lancet, like a surgical blade, should be transported across the clinic floor at any time. So dental assistants in particular, I really need you to remember that and dispose of your sharps in your clinic area. There's containers right there for you. And your department leads will reiterate that a little bit later. Lester brings up a good point. What's biohazard? So the best description I can give you is like bloody gauze, blood-soaked gloves, saliva-soaked, like if you could bring the saliva out gauze. If you're on the clinic side, you have reasons to dispose of these things. If you're on the community side, you really, unless you've had your hepatitis vaccinations, you really shouldn't be in a situation where you would have to worry about disposing in the bag. That's probably an easy way to remember. Can I ask Carly and Margie to come up? Are they here? Because it really is a problem, and we need people to keep moving the full garbage cans off the floor. Well, these two ladies are like, no problem, we'll do it. So I am deputizing you they're going to be out there and they're going to be reprimanding those of you who dispose of things in the wrong area. So there's both of you. A little bit about why are we all here? Okay, the simplest answer is we're here to provide care for those who cannot otherwise access it. I did a lot of questions about, well, what if they have insurance? Well, my answer is often, so what? You've been outside. It is really cold. A lot of people are already in line. I hope that you've already seen that. My answer is that anyone who's willing to wait in that line in that cold really needs care, and they don't have a different way to get it. They didn't wake up this morning and decide, yeah, I'll stay in line overnight in the cold. That sounds like a good idea for a dental appointment. These are people who've been in pain for a long time. And I think we need to remember that as the next couple of days go on. And I know we get tired too. Trust me, especially the leads are on our feet all day. But put yourselves in the shoes of someone who waited outside for 24 hours. When I got on site today, a little bit before 8 o'clock, we already had people in line. So they've been outside, they've been in the cold, they're tired, they're not sleeping well. They're probably a little bit afraid. The dentist isn't everybody's favorite place to be. So sometimes that fear and tiredness can present itself in a manner which might seem confrontational, and it's not. We need to put ourselves in their shoes and welcome them, make them feel comfortable. They are our invited guests to our clinic. We want them to feel very special. Each one of our patients, they are special. And their story, we're adding something to their story. And I just want to remind everybody of that's truly why we're here. We're helping people get out of pain. We're relieving infection. So that said, there's also those instances where patients might try, and I want to be delicate about this, they might try to get maybe a little bit more than the procedure and protocols would allow. And they know, people are very smart, and they'll watch how the clinic works. They have a lot of time sitting on the waiting chairs, and they see how it goes. And they might try to convince you that maybe someone in a lead position definitely said, I'm going here next. And as an escort, or if you're a clinician, my response to you is we can't let that happen. No matter how compelling their story is as to why they are going something a little bit different than the norm. The only times that would happen that you would say yes to that is if your department lead or Weston or I directly tell you, yes, this patient is going to go in a different direction. And even with that said, I know it'll probably happen, but if we don't keep really tight controls, it can be chaos, and it also can be unsafe. So we want to keep it fair for everybody waiting in line, and we want to keep our volunteers in a safe position also. So I think most of you understand the types of services that we're providing, and it's almost a full, ambit of what we offer in a regular practice. Fillings, extractions, cleanings, we will do some root canals. We'll be able to do a few treatment partials, or what we call flippers, which restore a couple front teeth. Those are some of the most life-changing stories. And one of the most important things we want to do is provide patient education. We want to let them know about prevention. And maybe with enough education and prevention, they wouldn't have to wait in line, in another year. So a few rules: all patients need to be escorted at all times. And if you see a patient wandering around, please take it upon yourself to ask them, hey, where are you going? Can I help you? Let me help you get there. Because it's unsafe for them, and it can be unsafe for the people around, and we also, again, don't want people kind of skirting the system. There's no smoking in the convention center. There's a protocol for people to be able to exit briefly and come back. And they'll tell you about that tomorrow or tonight at your other orientation. If there's a medical emergency, tell your lead right away, tell any lead right away, tell me right away. We have EMTs on site, and if there's a security emergency, the same thing. Just get that information to your lead. I'm not going to go over this really in depth, because it will make more sense when you're down on the clinic floor. The biggest points I would make is that we're going to start letting patients into the clinic between